One of the exciting things about coming to America is being able to drive. Buy a car, rent a car, drive on our roads. But first thing you're gonna need is a learner's permit, which leads to that driver's license. And sorry, my friends, but it's a lot harder to get that here than you think. We've got some student friends who've just gotten it, and the very first phase is to get that learner's permit. And in this video, we're gonna break down all the things, what to do and not to do to start your driving journey here in America. Check it out. Hey friends, welcome to Chai and Coaching. I'm Rob, and at Chai and Coaching, we're all about helping you succeed in your cross-cultural journey, whether it's studying abroad, finding jobs, or driving here in America. We know it's really fun to rent a car, buy a car, go on road trips here in America, but you need to be able to drive. So the very first thing is learner's permit, and our friends just went through this process, and it was hard. There was mistakes, long crazy nights, and so we're gonna tell you everything, what to do step by step in this video, and then in some other videos we're gonna cover as well all the other steps to get that driver's license. Okay guys, go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hello guys, my name is Uthama. I'm from India. I'm pursuing Masters in Computer Engineering here at the University of Texas at Dallas.
Hey everyone, so my name is Abhinandan. I'm from India as well, and I'm pursuing my Masters in Business Analytics.
One thing to preface is everything we're going to be sharing about today is here in Dallas through the DPS. I know in other parts of the country they call it the DMV, kind of like the RTO back there in India as well. So most of what we say is going to apply today, but you need to double check and make sure that based on your city, your state, there isn't something that's slightly different, but almost everything in this video is going to really help you out in getting your driver's license. So the first phase we're going to talk about is the learner's permit. This is the first thing you need to get, and you need to book that slot. So let's learn about that. Tell us about that, guys.
So the first thing we had to do is first go to the DPS website. There we need to book a slot for us for a learner's permit. So there's an option where we enter all our details from our name, our SSN. So like if you don't have one, so you need to just fill in 1111. So that's what we did. And then you go ahead and select the available slot by entering your PIN code or your zip code. It will just show you the next available slots, and you just book one of them for your convenient date. Yeah, so that's basically how you book a slot, and you also get a confirmation message over your phone number and your email.
One thing that happened during the pandemic is offices were closed,
Yes.
and that created a big backlog.
Yep.
So for a long time it took months, even many months, to get a slot. It's a little bit better now, but that's been a complication over this last couple of years in America is
Yep.
booking convenient close slots, right?
Yes, especially here in Texas, when we first started, we were getting 3 months out for the slots. So first we took that slot, and then we started doing all the documentation and trying to find ways to get an earlier slot. So our journey into getting the driver's license, we started asking about our seniors who had come here the previous years for how did they get the driver's license. So what we got to know is, you're right here in Texas, as we previously mentioned, there is a huge backlog of appointments. So we wanted to get it pretty soon. So we found out in one of the DPS centers here in Dallas, a walk-in appointment is available, but they are very limited. So there is a huge queue formed overnight. So that was our initial information. And apart from that, we also got to know about all the documentations required. So first thing, what we need as international students here is our passport with the visa, our I-20 documents, I-94 documents, and 2 sets of address proofs to show that we are actually in the US.
What are some examples for the address proof?
So address proofs can be a rent agreement with clearly showing all the occupants of the house along with the owner or the representative of owner. So that details should be there. It can be utility bills like internet, electricity. It can also be our student health insurance card. But if you are utilizing your student health insurance card, make sure that you should not remove the naming part of that, because a small card can be removed from the big card. But make sure that is not done, because the address is there in the main card. So the smaller card does not has that. It can be any other documents also which has your name and the address what you are staying in. It can also be your bank statement which has your name and the address. Make sure that the name in all of the utility bills or any proofs match with the passport. Otherwise it's not considered as a valid document.
And a Wi-Fi bill can work too, right?
Yeah, Wi-Fi bill works. Also, if we are taking all of our address proof, make sure that all the papers are mentioned. So for example, in I-20 it is mentioned page 1 of 3, page 2 of 3, or page 3 of 3. So all the pages should be there, because otherwise, even though not much information might be there in the final pages, so for example in I-20 the third page is just rules and regulation. So you might think we might not need that because it does not give any other information. But DPS does not accept that. They need page 3 of 3 and only then it will work. Same goes for any other documents too. Your rent agreement might have many pages and it might be mentioned down that this page is out of this set. So if it mentions that, take the entire set and make sure that take the original documents only. Once during the pandemic period, United States of America's government introduced the soft copy I-20. So if we are having soft copy I-20, take a proper printout. Make sure that the print is really good. Make sure that there is no lines in the document, because otherwise it's not accepted. That's one of the main parameters to use.
Sounds like government offices in America are kind of like government offices in India with the documents, right?
Yes.
Very strict, have to be pakka.
Yeah.
Yeah, no leeway, yeah.
So one more thing about the document is the 6-hour learning course. For age below 25, it is usually mandatory to take the course online. So where you go to like various certified courses on the DPS website, if you go, so you can find like many of the third-party providers who are certified by DPS. So you can go to those websites, register and pay some amount of fees and get these certificates. So there'll also be a test along with at the end of the course, of course.
So when you're under 25,
yeah, under 25,
you can go do a driving test through these different third-party companies, right?
yes.
Okay.
And also one of the other things what we did is, so like I'm over 25, but I still took the test. Why? Because when you go to the DPS, if you are not having this particular learning certificate, so you need to take a written exam. So to skip this written exam, so I took this test.
And because we are first time people here in United States, the 6-hour course is kind of mandatory, it becomes, because this is our first foray into the driving experience here in US. So to prove that we know all the rules and regulations, it's better to take this course.
Yeah, it's important. These extra steps of education are to keep you safe, keep everyone else on the road safe. And it's important not to cut these corners, because while driving is easy, the rules are complicated.
Yeah.
And knowing and understanding the rules is what's going to keep everyone safe. So please take that seriously. Now that you've got the slot booked and all your documents ready, what happens next?
So in our next stage of process, once we had all of our documents, we went into one of the local DPS office here in Dallas at midnight, because that's the information what we had. And once
you guys went at midnight?
Yes.
Why did they say go at midnight?
Because the walk-in appointments for a day are very limited, usually less than 20. So we had to make sure that we are in one of the first 20 people.
And
so
when does it open in the morning?
The DPS office opens at 7 a.m.
So you get there at midnight for 7 a.m. Wow. Okay. Yes. Tell us more.
So like we had to go there at 12 a.m. I think, and then we took a cab. So we were 4 of us. So we went there. Luckily, we were the second in the line, and so there were a couple of guys like ahead of us, and few of them had already reserved a spot in the line and was waiting. And so we waited the whole night. And unfortunately, the same day the temperature dropped a lot and it was very cold that day. So we had to bear that, and we thought like somehow we'll get past through this. And in the morning, so when the office opened, so the officer came by us and they checked our documents, and that is when like one of our documents was missing, and there was a few issues with our document. But also one of the things we got to know is, so if we could correct our document within few hours, a few minutes, there's an opportunity to book a slot online immediately. So that also depends on the availability of those slots. If someone else books them, so we won't be able to get it. But if you're fast enough, and if you have all the right documents, you can book the slot online, take the same appointment on the same day actually.
So there's a little bit of help if you make a small mistake and can fix it that day.
Yes.
That way you don't have to come back another time.
Yes.
So that's nice to know.
Yes.
But this is applicable only to this office.
That office only?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
We had to go back because we didn't have one of the key documents, that was the lease document. There we didn't have the ledger. The officer told us that this ledger contains the actual representative from our apartment lease, the owner, and who are all staying in that particular apartment. So this ledger sheet, we didn't have it. and that's the reason like we were rejected. So we had to go back and get our documents corrected with the apartment, the representative. Like we had to come back again the next day.
So with this newfound information of booking the slot early in the morning at 7:30 a.m. for the same day, we booked another slot for another day, waking up early in the morning at 7:30. We were lucky at that time. We got an appointment for around 9:30 a.m. that morning, and we went relaxed that day.
And then is that when you guys went with all the corrected documents?
Yes.
And did everyone get approval for the learner's permit?
Yes.
Yes.
And what does the learner's permit allow you to do?
The learner's permit is valid for 1 year from the date of issue. That's the Texas state law that all the foreign immigrants with the visa status mentioning duration of status will get only 1 year of license. So with the learner's license, we could drive a car, but we need to have someone with the full-time license with us in the car supervising our driving. So that's the key requirement.
So learner's permit is like a practice permit almost.
Yes.
With supervision, allowing you to work towards getting your full driver's license.
Yes.
Okay, guys. So tell us some of those common mistakes that you made that people need to be careful about for that learner's permit.
So one of the things we talked about earlier was about the document verification. So the officers at the DPS take this very seriously and they scrutinize your documents. They verify all your documents like very thoroughly. When we went, the one mistake we made was like we had a error with our lease document, and that was like we didn't have a ledger document basically. So this ledger contains the information about our apartment owner, the representative of the apartment, and like who are all staying in the apartment. So this document is very important and we were missing that. And another thing why one of us got registered was because the I-20. So we didn't have the I-20, the third sheet.
3 out of 3.
Yeah,
Yes.
3 out of 3. So usually like we ignore the last page because that contains few instructions and stuff, but the people at DPS, the officers like are very strict. So if any document mentions like 1 out of 3, so you need to have all the 3 sheets of that particular document.
And also we need to make sure that the I-20 is printed very properly, because we also found that one of our I-20, the printing was not clear. Basically there was a mark on the edge of the paper. So the actual information was a bit of like a grayscale, whereas further after the edge it was all pure white. So we were rejected based on that, saying that it's not legible. So we need
good
to
paper,
make sure.
good ink.
Yes.
Wow.
To further elaborate what Abhinandan said about lease document, make sure that there is a name of the representative who is managing your apartment. So your lease document might say the owner is some LLC X company and the signature is of a particular person. So there should be a document saying that this particular person is the representative of this X LLC company.
Another mistake that international people make is doing the dates in America.
Yes.
Whether you put the day or the month first. You know, in America we do month, day, year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most parts of the world do day, month, year. So make sure you've got the dates right on all the documents when filling the forms, because that can also be a mistake that gets you rejected.
One of the other thing is, once you get the learner's permit approved, so they will give a temporary piece of paper where all the documents is there till you get your smart card. Verify all of your details properly and only then sign it. If there is any error in your naming, just get it rectified then and there.
And also one more thing about the documents is, if they say like they need 2 documents, it's better to take like 3 or 4. For example, in our case, the proof of residence, you can take a lease or some Wi-Fi bill or something. But just in case, carry 2 extra other documents like bank statements or some other thing.
Renter's insurance also works.
So another thing about the document is coming to the family plan for the mobile internet or mobile data. So usually what we students do is we bundle together with our roommates or some of our friends and we purchase a family plan. For example, we purchase T-Mobile family plan, and a family plan will have one single head, and this is also a problem. Why? Because only the head may get the bill in his name, but others will not get the bill. So like only the head can submit the proof of residence using that particular bill. So take care of all of these things. So another thing, like when you're inside the DPS office, one key important thing is to not rely on the displays which they have. So you will get your token, and when they're calling out your number, usually it will be displayed on the displays over there, but they are few seconds delayed. So it's better to keep an ear out and listen to your number than to trust on the displays over there. After you enter the DPS office, make sure if you have any questions, just ask the representatives over there, and they're very helpful. So they'll help you with all the steps. Even while filling the forms over there, so if you have any questions, just ask them and they will definitely help you. When you are submitting all the documents to a counter, so that time they'll also verify your eye, they'll check your eye. So, and if you have some kind of power or anything, so that will also be verified, and that status will also be mentioned in your license basically. So please check that also when you get your temporary license.
Also, the key thing to note is while we are booking the slot, we have mentioned SSN number. We do not have a SSN number, and that does not matter because at the counter we are actually signing an affidavit stating that we do not have an SSN number.
So that's a lot, but eventually you guys are going to get your learner's permit, and then the next steps after the learner's permit is the driving test and then the driver's license. And we're going to cover those in a separate video to give you all the helpful details for that. Uthama, Abhinandan, thank you guys so much for sharing your experience. Sorry it was harder, but I know your experience is going to help a lot of people.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Rob, for having us.
Yes.
And hope our information helps you a lot.
Definitely. My friends, make sure you connect with us online on social media like LinkedIn, Instagram. Be subscribed to our Chine Coaching newsletter for tips, resources, upcoming events. And yeah, we'll have other videos to help out with getting that driver's license, so be sure to check that as well. Thanks for being part of the Chine Coaching community and tuning into this video. We'll see you guys next time. Cheers.
Thank you.